The hood's open. It runs good. What does it need? Well, why don't you get your ass over here, instead of standing right there looking at me, and come take a look for yourself. And fine, I guess I'll introduce you to this Jeep. This is a 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 4.0. I do not touch the 4.7, so I will only buy these with the 4.0. It's in really good condition, 160,000 miles, literally brand new tires. Body is in great condition. There is a little bit of surface rust underneath that we are going to be sanding down and painting some rust protectant over, but nothing bad enough, nothing that's poking through. But rust can be common on these. I got lucky with this one. But here's what's wrong with it. If you just come down here with me, boop, and you look at that AC condenser, she's been bashed in quite a bit. And along with the AC condenser, the radiator. Some dude backed into this, or no, the kid driving this ran into a dude that had a big old tow hitch sticking out of his truck and smashed in the radiator. So we have a radiator to replace, AC condenser to replace, and it is wet down there by the thermostat. I'm trying to get a good view for you, which means our thermostat housing is probably leaking and it won't hurt to replace it anyways. So we need radiator, AC condenser, and thermostat. We also have a check engine light on for throttle position sensor and an evap leak. For right now, we'll focus on the cooling system and the throttle position sensor. It's very possible it just hasn't been started in a while and needs to relearn. So once the radiator's in, we'll obviously run it for a little bit. We'll drive it around and then we'll shut it off, try to start it. When I bought it, I shut it off and then it wouldn't start unless you gave it some gas. And that's common when you don't start these for a while. So we'll try that. Very worst, we'll replace the throttle position sensor, but easy enough. This thing's been well maintained. The lady had it for 7 years. She drove it here from, I'm probably wrong, but I want to say she drove it here from like Massachusetts or something like that. She drove it to Jackson, Wyoming, and then I bought it from her there just because she was done with it. It was her boyfriend's kid's car, and then he ran into somebody and they didn't want to fix it. So here it is. I purchased it for $13.50. Not a bad deal. Okay. Yeah. This is gonna be fun. Look at that. It's bent just enough. It's right up against the sway bar. I'm gonna have to take the sway bar off so I can actually get this hose off. That's ridiculous, dude. This thing's really shoved in there. Well, here's what we got. I pulled the rubber lines off of the radiator fittings. That way, this will just lift out with the lines on there. Had to heat them up because they were hard, but they're off. So now everything down here should be good. We just need to get everything else off. We have our upper hose. We got to get this guy out of the way so I can get to some of the bolts. And then we do have a clutch fan and electric fan. I think I might be able to slip this out before I pull this off. I'm going to try. If not, we'll have to pull them up and out together. But hopefully we don't have to do that. Man, I would already have a ZJ radiator out by now. Oh yeah, look at that. That got hit good. Okay, we're out. Today we are driving 2.5 hours away to pick up a $250 Jeep. It has a branded title and I don't know the maintenance history on it. My mom passed away. It was being daily driven last year, but it's 250 bucks, so we'll go take a risk. At worst, we'll part it out, but I bet we can get it running. It'll be a good, cheap winter Jeep for somebody to have. First part of my day is putting an absurd amount of gas into this 35-gallon tank and crying a little bit, but it's okay because it's a $200 Jeep and we'll make our money back. Yeah, I wish it only took 5 gallons. Well, looks like we're here. And there it is. Well, I'm gonna go look at this and then I'll come back to you guys once I buy it. Out of respect for the owner, I don't need to film. Well, there she is. Nice and clean on this side. You can see it's a branded title and you can see that this fender and the hood doesn't necessarily match, but we can fix those up if it runs and drives good. We'll just take them off, sand them down, repaint them, straighten out this dent right here. Tires, it needs new tires for sure. They're just a little weather cracked. Needs a new tail light. Back end's good. We do have a dent right here. Not a huge deal. We'll pop it out as much as we can and then just sand it and do a coat of matching paint. But again, 250 bucks. This will be a cheaper Jeep. And then there's no rust underneath, and that's the important part. Frame is solid, so we like that. 212,000 miles. The interior is a little dirty. Got a ripped seat, but nothing we can't fix. Headliner's sagging a little bit, we'll fix that. And now we've got a nice scenic drive back from Salmon, Idaho, all the way home, where this will be parked until I get to it. But that'll be soon, probably end of this week, beginning of next, I'll get to this one. Kind of just zooming through some projects right now, trying to get a bunch ready for cold season. I've been so hungry, I realized I stashed a thing of Pringles up there and a granola bar down there. Hell yeah, dude. This is why you keep snacks in your truck at all times, because you're gonna forget when you need them. But now I'm gonna eat some Pringles and a granola bar, and that's my lunch. And I can go straight back to work when I get back. Well, we have made it to town. We are at AutoZone. Gotta grab a water pump for the Jeep in the garage and a thermostat, and we're gonna get that on tonight. All right, we got the thermostat water pump off, got them cleaned up. I'm gonna wipe all this nasty residue around it off, and then we'll throw the new ones on. Water pump is on. I need to do the thermostat still, but it is 5:30 and it's time to eat dinner with my wife and hang out for a sec. And then I'll come back out later tonight, finish up the thermostat, get everything back together, ready to fire up and warm up for the first time tomorrow morning. So this is going as smooth as it could. The screw-on piece that goes into the radiator, like so, is seized in here. So I'm gonna need to go find another tranny line. This is just seized and I don't feel like taking that one out and trying to twist this one to the right spot. The seal in there could be bad anyways. So we'll see what we can find. That's the last piece, and then the radiator can finally go back in. And while we're there, I guess I will grab a header panel for this. I had a stroke right there, damn. Now we can just throw it straight back together. And I believe it was just some 10 millimeters and some Torx bits. So that is what I will bring with me. I will be right back. All right, we got our fresh radiator lines. It came off nice and easy. Got our header panel. And now we know we have a throttle position sensor or an outlet air control here if we need it. And any evap parts we might need once we figure out what that code is for and what's going on. So let's go get this cooling system back together, get it running, and finally drive this thing. And the new radiator is now ready. We got our non-crusty lines from the junkyard on there, got the fan on, so let's throw this back in.
Show them your face. Show them your face.
I think that's the most we're gonna do right now. Well, I guess we gotta put this back on. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. There's a crack in this frickin' radiator, dude. Luckily, the Jeep I pulled everything else off of had a good radiator, so I just threw that all together. We're gonna pop this back in real quick, and then we should be good to go. There's no cracks on this one. Don't trust cheap Chinese junk off of eBay. It's a company I've used before, but I'm really disappointed that it has a crack in it. That should not happen when you order a new radiator, but whatever. I'm gonna throw this in, we'll be good to go. Well, I do believe we've got the cooling system fixed. So no leaks, ran it, got up to temp, holds temp just fine. And then I shut it off and it restarted immediately. I think the throttle position sensor just needed to relearn. So I'm gonna clear the codes and then we'll let it run. We'll drive it around for a little bit once it's together and see if they come back. Cause there is that evap code, but I don't I don't know if that had something to do with throttle position sensor or what. So I'll just make sure all the vacuum lines are good. We'll make sure everything back here is good, like the fuel lid, you know. Click it a couple times. So let me put the front end back together. We got our new bezel right here. So we'll throw this on, and then we can pop the headlights in, grill back on, bumper back on, and she'll be good to go. Since I have the headlights on, I actually think I'm gonna take it for a drive real quick, now that we're legal again. Make sure she shifts through all the gears before we spend any more money on it. All right, first test. Will she just fire right back up? Yes, sir. Here we go. There's second, third. And fourth. Cool, well, we've got our gears. Kickdown can probably be adjusted a little bit. The second to third kind of happens pretty quick within each other, but no big deal. So I'm gonna go get a grill, and I'm gonna go get new fog light bulbs, and we'll throw this bumper back on, and then we'll do a little loop on the freeway, make sure up at speed there's no wobble or anything, and then we can start cleaning it up. I'll clear the codes too before we take it on a drive just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna come back because the evap leak is fixed and throttle position sensor has relearned. Okay, took it for a drive, did great, but the check engine light did come back on for the throttle position sensor, not the evap. I thought it was gonna be the evap, but so I'm gonna replace that. That's why I got the other one. I'm gonna pull the air filter off and just look at the throttle body, look at the wiring, make sure all that's good, and then we'll replace the throttle position sensor, take it on another drive, see what happens then. So right off the bat, the wiring looks fine. I mean, all the wires are intact, all of our pins are still in there. Throttle body is dirty, and this doesn't have, I mean, any signs it's bad, but it still could be. So we'll throw the other one on. I'm gonna clean the throttle body, clear the code again, and we'll see if it comes back. So before we put this back together, looks like somebody broke the shift down cable. They broke the part that clips on. I'm not gonna replace the whole cable, but what I am gonna do is cut the zip ties off. We're gonna drill a hole that's almost the same size as this stud right here in this, and then hopefully be able to pop it on there enough and tight enough that it actually stays. And that could be why it shifts kind of funny sometimes, because it's not, I mean, just that much adjustment off the stud can make a huge difference. So we're gonna give that a go, make it a little more solid and not look jerry-rigged together. All right, there we go. I got a hole in it. She's on there and she stays on there. That's gonna be very difficult for that to pop. Oh, I stand corrected. That is not difficult for that to pop off. Which means, oh, because it wasn't on there all the way. There we go. Okay, now we're on there. Well, here she is, post-test drive. Our leak fix here is fixed. Our code did not come back. We have no pending codes. So for right now, we're gonna assume everything is fixed. I drove it for about 20 minutes. Usually the code will pop back up within 20 minutes. What we're gonna do now is, like I said earlier, let's crawl under here, guys. This floorboard has a little bit of rust on it. Now, it's surface rust. I have smacked it with a hammer. It is not poking through. So what we're gonna do is get this all sanded down and then spray a bunch of rust protectant under here. This is the only really troublesome spot on the whole car. But we'll get that taken care of. And then, all right, we are primered. Got it sanded down best I could. We primed it about the same color as the underside. I'll probably do another coat or two just to make sure. And we just did the whole thing so it matches and rust stops growing on the underside of this. I myself am not from a state where cars get rusty. Idaho doesn't use the same stuff on the roads in the snow that like Utah does and the South does. But this did come from, I think it was Minnesota. So cars will get rusty there. And like I said, luckily it hasn't rusted through. I smacked it with a little mini sledge just a couple times. There's no bad spots. It was just surface rust building up. So we got that taken care of. But now we're on to the detailing stage. Now for detailing, you know, I'm not a professional detailer by any means, but I do it as good as I can. So I start with vacuuming. And then we take some interior shine and we clean up and shine all the trim on the interior. We vacuum the seats, we clean up the engine bay, and we will clean up the headlights as best as we can. And then any gray trim, like the bumpers, front and rear, we'll get the heat gun treatment so they get dark back to their new color. And then we'll detail the wheels, wash the rest of the body. And if there's any stickers on the windows, I will peel those off too. So when it comes to heating up your trim, your bumpers, your door trim, whatever, sometimes the bumper can be like a weird texture where instead of actually darkening like it should, it kind of just bubbles and burns. And that's what this one's doing. So, I mean, you can see like where it was kind of bubbling right there, and there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, you could take it off, sand it down, repaint it, but we're not gonna do that. I just went over all the white as best I could and just got it a little darker. So it still looks better than it did, but it's obviously not perfect up here. I sell $3,000 to $4,000 Jeeps, so not everything needs to be perfect. Whereas if you're doing newer cars, you want everything to be as perfect as possible. I don't like newer cars. That's why we focus on the old stuff. Anyways, this rear bumper is coming out pretty nice though. You've still got that weird texture, but going over it lightly darkens it and actually smoothens it out quite a bit. So we're gonna do this to the whole bumper. It's gonna make it look so much different. It'll make this green, blue, maybe a little more green color pop that much more. Well, our trim work is done. It's now time to pull it out of the garage. We're gonna wash it and clean the wheels, get this thing looking somewhat brand new. Okay, brethren, we sold that Jeep like 2 days after I posted it. It's turning back into quick season, like I've been saying. And that was a fun Jeep. It was a mom and her son. She needed a car for her sons to drive around for the winter. They were already in town from an hour away doing some other stuff. They came, they looked at it, they bought it. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, I bought it for $1,350. Total after parts was $1,805.52. We sold it for $3,400, leaving me with a profit of $1,594.48 on that Jeep. So, I'm happy, they're happy. That's more money in my pocket, baby. And that was a good one. I'm not a fan of those Jeeps. I really don't like them. They just look like minivans, and I don't know. They just have a lot of electrical issues, and I only buy them if they're a really good deal. But we got it gone. We got it fixed up good. They're gonna have a good Jeep. As far as that Jeep I picked up in the middle of the video for 250 bucks, it did end up being a locked up motor. I did not think it was. I got a little cocky on that one, but it was a locked up motor. Didn't make sense for me to fix it up with how rough the body and interior already were. So with gas and what I paid for the Jeep, I was in at about $350, and I sold it for $350. So made my money back, just lost a little bit of time. That's what happens in car flipping, especially when you focus on the older cars. But even if you work on the newer cars, sometimes they don't work out. But it's always good to take the chance if it's a good deal, because you never know what might happen. As long as you can buy it for what you can resell it for, or at least part it out for, you won't take too bad of a loss. Guys, one of my favorite parts about making videos right now, even though I'm still super small on YouTube, is people send me free stuff for my cars, and all I have to do in exchange is give them a review on it. And I like that, because I like modifying my cars, especially the tow rig, because she's really boring right now. I don't have a radio in this thing. The speakers are absolute garbage in this thing. The speakers are a different subject, but I don't have an aftermarket radio. I still have the stock radio, and it's super boring, and half the time doesn't even work. Now, forgive me for pronouncing this wrong, but the guys over at Atoto sent me this X10 powerful floating head unit, and I am super excited for this thing. It is touchscreen, it has navigation, you can watch movies on it, take calls on it. It is voice controlled as well. so you can talk to it. Check this out, dude. That's a huge screen. That is way more than I need, but this thing is sick. So it comes in a single DIN or a double DIN configuration. If it's single DIN, you just throw this in there and throw this right into the slot. If it's double DIN, you bolt this underneath this guy, so it sits basically like that, and then you install the radio and you hook it up and you're good to go. It also comes with all of the wiring that is needed. You will have to go get an adapter plate for an aftermarket radio and also harness adapters to fit these wires. But aside from that, it is all plug and play. It comes with everything you might need to get this hooked up, to hook up aftermarket speakers, whatever you want to do. And it also comes with a screen protector. I think that's super cool because I don't like fingerprints on my screen. So let me get this installed and then I can really show you what this thing can do. All right, there she is, nice and installed in this truck. It was very close to the shifter, but I was able to space it out and get it like a 1/4 inch away from the screen, and it looks good. Now installation varies depending on your car, but pretty simple. It was all plug and play. I did not have to modify anything. So we're gonna turn our key and she turns on. Look at all of these options, dude. 3 pages of options. Now, this radio does come with a SIM card, so if you do want Wi-Fi, you can buy a plan on the website that the SIM card guides you to, and you can get a data plan for this stereo. I'm not gonna do that because I have CarPlay, I really don't need it, but I guess I got my music playing. But I mean, check this out. You got Netflix, music, maps, Google, Spotify. You can actually download an app where it'll hook up to your truck or your car and you can read codes just from this, which is pretty sick. I got to figure that out. But you just have all these different options. YouTube, if you want to watch YouTube videos, don't do it while you're driving, all right? And then CarPlay. Now to hook up to CarPlay, you click on it. It's going to give you a couple options. So you go to this button here and you have CarPlay. If you have an Android, you have Android Auto, and then you have mirror. So you can mirror your screen, and basically it's like connecting your phone to your TV. And then you have CarPlay for your Apple, and you have Android Auto, and you just click on it and you'll follow the steps that it gives you to hook it up, and then you'll hit CarPlay or Android Auto right here and it'll hook up to your phone. So I got my Bluetooth back on, but what we're gonna do, basically, you can go in here, you can go like click on calls, you can go to your call logs, check that out. You have your music, you can get your music app hooked up to it. I just have Spotify, so that won't work. There's your screen mirroring right there. This is pretty cool. This allows you to adjust all the settings on your speakers, how you want your music to come out. You have so many different options here, and then you have all these options over here of how you want your music to sound. I haven't even messed with it myself, but that is pretty sweet. And then this is for front or rear cameras if you have them hooked up, which I don't have those hooked up yet. But super, super easy to use. There's so many different functions. And what we'll do now, if you have your Bluetooth hooked up, by the way, you hook a cord into your screen, which mine's back there. If you hook your phone up to the actual screen with an aux cord, then you can access YouTube. CarPlay, I'm just gonna hook up to that right now. And now we are in my CarPlay. It is completely wireless. You just have to be connected to the Bluetooth. But you can access your maps, which I am in. You can come here. You can go to phone calls. You can call whoever you want. The really cool thing that I really like is texts. I can click on the text and watch this. Well, it's not gonna let me do it, but you click on it and it'll read the text to you, and then you can talk to the screen and tell it what you want to say back, and just hit, and then just say send, and it sends a message. Really cool. There are 2 mics built in right here, so when somebody calls, crystal clear, man. You can just talk to them, they can hear you, you can hear them. It's awesome. So if you guys are interested, click the link below, use the discount code above from the store site for 15% off, or you can use the second code from Amazon for 8% off, which is also stackable with Amazon discount codes. and you can get your very own Toto flat screen stereo. They have many different screen options and many different options in general. So go check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.